Good morning, friends. How are you this morning? We are having technical difficulties on our end, so I've gone to the backup here, so that's why we're running a little late today. That we could not get connected. So this is what happens when you do things live. It doesn't, no matter how much you prepare, every once in a while things just go cattywampus. So here we are, and I'm glad you're a part of it, and you're glad you're here, even for our tardiness on occasion. Hey, Karen, good morning. I hope you're doing well. Hi, Vicky. Good to see you. Hope you're doing all right. Hey, Donna, how are you? Good morning, Rosalia. Good to see you. So, good morning. I was going to say Buenos Aires, but I don't know. I actually don't know what time it is, so I don't know if that's right. Good morning, everybody. Glad you're a part of this and you're here. Yeah, again, we're having some technical difficulties. We're moving offices. If you're catching on, and so by virtue of that, I'm not quite sure why, but we are. But unable to connect today on our normal means. So we're seeing you on a different screen. So Vicky's working at a friend's greenhouse, volunteering for a friend. Oh, lovely! That is beautiful. So glad that that is the season for for greenhouse and for all the goodness of the world. Good morning. So glad you are here. Dream job. So nice. So let's get going this morning because I know we're late. I'm all discombobulated and turned around. So just bear with me here. So good morning, John. Glad you're here. Glad you made it. I almost didn't. So good that it's here. So good morning on this 11:20. I don't know, whatever we're into now with all of the technical wompiness, but we're welcome to this on the 26th day of April at 11:11 ish. And so I'm glad that you're a part of this, and I'm glad you still showed up even though I'm late. I'm glad that your journey is and your path has crossed mine, and that we together as a crew might journey through this world for a minute or two. There's what is called one of the great pilgrimages of the Western world is called it's affectionately known as the Camino, or it's Camino de Compostela or Camino de Santiago, depending. It's got all kinds of different names, but it is essentially about 400 or 500 miles of trekking through the foothills of the Pyrenees into a small village, not a huge city in northern Spain, and to the Cathedral of Compostela, to the Cathedral of St. James. So it is where St. James is believed to be interred. That it is where he died, and it is where he ended up at the end of his life, because he went he began his missionary journey in Jerusalem and traveled all the way to what was then known as Finisterre. That's what the Romans called Galatia, that part of Spain. Finisterre means in Latin, it is the end of the world. In Acts 1, Jesus' command to the apostles is to take the gospel to Samaria, to Judea, and to the ends of the world. And James took him at his word and went to the very place that was called Finisterre, that was called the end of the world. And it is there that he was martyred, he was killed, and it was there that he ended up and his bones interred. the journey there, it had become, in the Middle Ages, was a pilgrimage of great renown. Thousands of pilgrims over centuries would pilgrimage to Compostela, to Santiago, to have their to have this journey, that if they couldn't go to Jerusalem, because this is the thing, in the Christian world, every pilgrimage is a pilgrimage to Jerusalem. Every journey is a journey to the Holy Center. Every journey is a way of moving in this world. You see, this command to stay moving, this command to move to the ends of the earth, it's deep within the tradition. It's before Jesus, that in fact, one of the problems with building the temple, one of the problems that God had with the temple building, was the simple fact that if you build a temple, now we don't move anymore. And actually what we need to do is be a people that moves. And if you've ever heard of like the Feast of Tabernacles, that's the one where they build these little houses and they go out into the fields and into the wilderness. This is one of the 5 big festivals of the ancient Jewish world. The Feast of Tabernacles, where they like go out and build little huts and stay in the wilderness. And it is compared with what we know as the Transfiguration, because it was during this feast that the disciples saw Jesus in all of his glory and all that would change and transform the world of who he truly was. And so but they would do this. They would go out and they would stay in the little booths. They were also called the Feast of Booths, Booth, like a little booth, and you'd go out there because it was a remembrance and a reminder to stay moving. Even though we have this temple and we're grounded and we're in this place, keep moving is the command, that we must keep moving as a people. And if we don't keep moving, we will die. That is the and it's not so much kind of Dory the blue fish, from Finding Nemo, sort of like just keep swimming. It's not just the just keep swimming movement, but it is actually our invitation into the ends of the earth. Our invitation at Santiago de Compostela, the invitation on pilgrimage to move to the Holy Center, to move to Jerusalem, to move to the center of our being, to move in our life. And it's not just a body thing. That's the thing. But externals have a way of mirroring internals, don't they? Externals have a way of becoming what's going on outside of us, has a way of also mirroring what's going on inside of us. And the reality of life is that we are going to keep moving. That even if we try to stay still, that the world is going to move around us. We'll get older, we'll get saggier, we'll get drippier, our bellies will get bigger. I mean, time will do its work, if nothing else. People that we love will step into the next life. We will move in this world. That this enduring life of change is inevitable. And so when Jesus says, take the gospel to Samaria, to Judea, and to the ends of the world, to Finisterre itself, he's saying, take it to everywhere that you will encounter. Take it to everything that you will encounter. That when your heart is broken with great grief, bring the gospel to it. When your heart is swelled with incredible gratitude and beauty, take the gospel to it. Take all of the pieces and the parts. When we encounter great horror and brokenness, I've seen this in work that I've done with soldiers and work that I've done with those suffering from post-traumatic stress. There's a reality that we have to talk about, which is on the other side of that, which is about post-traumatic growth, and that that which is living in that end, that which is the unknown territory, that which when we look at the Mappa Mundi, which it sits in Hereford, UK, in the cathedral there, and it is the map of the Roman world as it was in the times of pilgrimage when this pilgrimage was first set up to Santiago de Compostela. That when that was first set up, it mapped out that there was a Finisterre, there was an end of the world. Now we think in our modern world there's no end in the horror of things, or there's no end to this, that it's all been captured. But in the life of human experience, and particularly in the life of soldiers who encountered great difficulty and great horror, it is in many ways, and it's honestly, and it's an honest thing. It is not a dishonest thing, and it's a courageous thing. It's not a cowardly thing. But it is the entering into the pain of it, the entering into the darkness of it, the entering onto the place of the map where it says there be dragons. The entering into that place, the entering into the Finisterre, the entering into the end of the world is so terrible, and so that often they'll do anything but to encounter that place in their own hearts. But that all of the symptoms that I believe when we find this, when we start talking about all these symptoms that end up from post-traumatic stress, that often are an invitation to that land. Often they are a map that to take us to an unknown country. Often they are the invitation to walk in, not just in the footsteps of Jesus. I mean, that's always a great thing, but to walk in the footsteps of James and to go on pilgrimage. One of the first guys that ever walked the Appalachian Trail, when the Appalachian Trail was first being set up, was a World War II veteran. And I can't remember his name for the life of me. I tried to find it this morning. But he walked the Appalachian Trail right after World War II. And he said, what I want to do is he said, what am I doing here? I'm walking off the war. Friends, my invitation to you is to keep moving. Maybe you can go on pilgrimage, maybe you can't, maybe you will, maybe you won't, whatever that is, but to keep moving in your life and to keep bringing the gospel, bringing your attention, bringing your life, bringing your love, bringing your place to that place that is on the way to the cathedral, on the way to the holy city, on the way to the true and the good and the beautiful, even though there might be dragons, even though it is the very end of the earth. It requires us really to pay attention to the road upon which we trod. Like, I don't know about you, but as I get older, everything that the old people used to say is becoming more and more true. And one of them is that time is going awfully fast. It's speeding up awfully quickly. And that in that speeding up, in that quickness, a quickening of time, it gets more and more difficult to pay attention to the surroundings in which we are. Earl Schaeffer, I think that's him, Earl Schaeffer. I think that is the guy. And he walked it as a result of, thank you, John, that I think as a result of his desire to walk off the war, of his encounters in World War II. Friends, we've all got a war to walk off. We've all got a gospel to bring to our own ends of the earth, a blessedness to bring to the places of darkness, a goodness to bring to the things of horror in our lives that we can't seem to quite encounter. And they all invite us to pay attention. The great Barbara Brown Taylor puts it this way. She says, paying attention requires no equipment, no special clothes, no greens fees, or no personal trainers. You do not even have to be in particularly good shape. All you need is a body on the earth, willing to notice where it is, trusting that even something as small as a hazelnut can become an altar in this world. Friends, I invite you to keep moving. Keep moving in your life. And I'm not talking about that physically only, though that's always good advice. But I'm talking about this invitation from Acts 1. That this invitation that the great pilgrimages of all traditions of all that the great pilgrimages have always invited us to is this to the tabernacle feast of the ancient Israelites invited us to, that we keep moving in this life, that we keep encountering this day and the next day and the next day, and don't not only just take them for granted, but don't let them slip by without bringing a bit of the holy to them, without bringing a bit of light to them, without bringing a bit of the gospel to them, of your good news, not the good news, your good news, your light and love and attention to the day, to the holiness of the day in which you've been given. You know, we are what is known as Congregationalists. We are founded in the congregational way, and that means we are people founded by pilgrims, and that we understand ourselves as pilgrims. I say this a lot, and you've probably all heard me say this, but I want to end with it and remind us, you know, we all came from God. One day we were not here, and another day we showed up. And we changed a bunch of people's lives, and we did that. We changed the whole world. We changed the entire cosmos when we arrived in this world. And we will step through it for however many days. We will be on this pilgrimage. And it is a gratitude to be on this pilgrimage with all of you today. But on this pilgrimage that we will move through this life, we will one day walk out of it too, and it will come to an end. And we will reach our holy city, and we will come to understanding face to face with the one who made us. But from this day to that, the job of the pilgrim, the primary job of the pilgrim, is to keep moving. And it's my invitation that you keep bringing the gospel with you, that you keep bringing your light and your love to the day in which God has given you, that you keep stepping on the path that is laid out before you, towards the map, even though all the arrows on the map may be pointing you towards the Finisterre, the end of the world, the place where the dragons dwell. But friends, let us not be afraid of those fights. Let us not be afraid of those wars, because God has conquered all wars, and God is victorious already. And in that, and the great words of Julian of Norwich, all is well. All manner of things are well. All things are well, I know. All right, peace and grace, friends. Thanks for sticking with it today. Thanks for being a part of this, and thanks for your time and attention on our journey. We'll pick it up tomorrow and thanks for the research, John. That's kicking. That's awesome. Thanks for your being here and being a part of this journey. And we'll pick it up tomorrow with another 11:11. Peace and grace, friends.